order.
Mhm.
This is kind of long story, but actually I talked to WebEx. They said the only way I can download the video or I can access to the video is you have to log into your account, then give me a direct link, then send me the link. Then that's the only way because I already registered the WebEx Spark, something like that, using my
Mhm.
email address. So I cannot use access to this or register this WebEx stuff again using this email address.
No, 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 no. That shouldn't work that way because Ed is able to view recordings and he has his own account as well. Right, Ed? You can view recordings, correct?
No, it's not your problem. It's my
Correct.
problem. Because
So,
my email address, the stone
mhm.
at fmtt.org, this is
Uh-huh.
already registered, and my account was with Spark, WebEx Spark instead of a WebEx. So I cannot register WebEx again using this email address to create an account. In that case, I cannot log
Oh,
into the portal to see the video.
Um, so, but the thing is that you have a link though. That link to the meeting will allow
Right,
you to open it in your WebEx account.
right. Once I click the link, it asks me to sign up first. But I cannot use this
yes.
email address to sign up again. So
No,
you
but
have
you
to,
can use, but you can use your existing account to sign up.
yeah, I tried, but once I sign up, it's a Spark, WebEx Spark. It's not linked. So tried to call WebEx twice. So
Huh.
they said the only way is you give me the link or you download the video that's email it to me.
Okay, no problem. What we will do is, Ed, do you want to in the background? I think you're logged in as me. Do you want to search for Fountainhead
Yep.
Zone, download them, but just like Boucher, instead you download them, but then convert them to MP4. If you don't know how, I'll show you how to convert them to MP4. So at least we can have that.
Okay.
And what we'll do, Stone, we'll come in here in your repository, and I'll
Okay.
create a folder just for you. So we'll call it Urban Training Videos.
Okay. Well,
And then I will add you. Let me see if who else can we see here. So good. We've got you just for now. Don't share it with anybody else until, right? So
okay.
I just have you, and I needed to add something because you as the admin and you as staff can access this. So what we'll do, we'll put them into this folder in the repository for you to access.
Okay, great.
All right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. So Ed, you could upload the raw videos and you can convert them and save them as MP4s. All right?
I'll
So
start
in
downloading
here,
those right now.
sure. So I'll create raw WebEx vids, just like that. You can save the raw ones in here, and then the actual. There you go. This would just be for backup stone, just in case.
Okay.
So we
Sure.
never lose the raw videos. All
Okay.
right. Okay, good. So now that that's said, let's proceed, right? So you're okay with your student records. You basically have a pretty good idea of what the student record view looks like and what all of these are on the right-hand side. Good?
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's move on to academics. And I know you've already created your classes. So this would be Urban's LMS portion, right? You hear other clients have LMS from a different type of system and they use Urban for database, but Urban also has its own internal LMS. Okay, so to create a class, very simple. On the right-hand side of the screen, we would click on New Class. The important things about a classroom is being able to add your course to the class, create a class name, so you would have your own naming convention as to what you want to name your class. You usually need to select the semester, so the correct semester you'll design for this class. You need to select an instructor. Your coordinator is basically someone who overlooks a class. Some schools have class managers. Now, Stone, if there's anything in here you don't need, we can also hide it, right? So, for example, independent study. Do you think you guys will use independent study?
Sorry?
Do you think that, yeah, do you think you will be using independent study?
I do see this self-study stuff, but I don't know what does that mean for independent study.
So independent study, let's say for example, I was a student, okay, and I was I needed to have an additional assessment done. So for example, you would have a normal practical life classroom, but let's pretend that I was not performing well in that class at all. So a teacher decides to say, okay, you know what, she's not doing well. I'm going to have a class on the side for her so she can kind of pick up her grades. Now, what that does is it creates its own classroom, its own grade book, its own attendance. So it's a totally different type of system, independent study classes, independent study attendance, independent study grades.
Okay, I don't think we got this function.
Right, not a lot of people use it. So what I was suggesting is that if there's anything, let's see, it just disappeared on me, didn't it? That's funny. Let's see if it's not even a standard field. Where did independent study go? Well, I'm going to start from the bottom. I know you don't need these. All right, some of these you don't need. These are for different types of clients, and I know for sure you won't be needed any of these.
Well, actually, you can leave there, I believe, just in case we're going to use it later. I know how to turn it off.
Yeah, but it's a totally different setup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like class tuition, things like that, you probably won't be needing.
Okay.
I don't think. But if you want, I can leave it. If you as long as you understand, and I think you will. So I don't need to delete anything from here.
Okay.
Yeah. But here, I'm going to pinpoint some of the things that you need for your classroom, and if you want me to explain anything else, I can do that. Pretty straightforward though, right? So status is basically what the status of your class is. It's but by default it's active. Most times a class would be active. All right. Now your course, you need to select course, and you basically know that pulls from the courses in the back end. That's already set up. Class name, depending on how you would like to name your classes. So if you just want to call this class Practical Life, or if you have multiple teachers teaching Practical Life, you can put the teacher name next to differentiate between teacher X and teacher Y, right? You've got semester, so you would select the semester that this class is being taught. Your coordinator, like I said, you can leave this blank if you want, but the coordinator is usually a class manager. So someone who will need to be logging in to be able to view this classroom as well, besides the instructor. See? So if you don't have that, or if you have no need for that, then you can just select the instructor.
Okay. So sorry, can we rewind back a little bit? Still, I still want to make it clear for the definition on the definition between the class and the courses.
Yes.
So we have already set up the course, and the name will be exactly same as the class. Why should we input the class here? Again?
Okay, this is how I like to explain it, and just picture it and tell me if you understand. So just think of an actual classroom. Okay, when you're in an actual classroom, you've got four walls and a door, right? Yeah. And inside of that classroom, the teacher walks in. So you have to have a teacher designated to that class. You have to have your students in that classroom, right? So you have a roster of students in the class. You also have the course that's being taught within that classroom. You see, so I can have, and here's the example why a class is different from a course. You can have one course being taught in your school, right? That's a homeroom, right? And in a homeroom class, you teach all subjects. Right? Now, here's the difference between having the setup of the classroom versus just having a course. How do you know who teaches the course?
Okay.
right? So you may have a course, but how do you know who teaches it? You need to assign a teacher to a course, right?
Okay.
And that can be done within your classroom. So your class can have the same name as the course, but within the classroom, you need to say who the instructor is, who the students are in that classroom, what time or your schedule, right? What time is the class being held? You may have 2 classrooms, right, with 2 class times for the same course as well, right?
Oh, okay.
It's possible. So you can also have the same class, practical life, being taught by another instructor. So having courses set up on the system, that's fine, but you need to place those courses into a classroom in order to define everything. And your classroom will also have all of the students within that class.
Okay, got it.
See? So the classroom basically holds the students. It shows you who the instructor is for the class, what course is being taught in there.
Okay.
Yeah? Makes sense, right?
Yep.
And Stone, that's a very popular question. We get that question all the time. We already have the course set up. Why does the classroom have to be created? Because when you set up a course, you didn't say which students need to take the course. You didn't say who the instructor was. You don't say what time this class is being held, how many hours this class is, taking attendance for a classroom. You can't do that just for a subject. See?
Okay. Okay.
So we have to set up this in order to house your course. All right? So now in here, these are all of the things that we set as well. You have a grading policy being selected. Sometimes people have more than one grading policies. Some people have honor classes. Some people have regular classes. Some people have lab, with a pass or fail. So you need to specify grading policy in that classroom as well for that subject.
Okay.
All right? And then you have the capacity of the class. So how many students are in this classroom? You'd have to specify that. Otherwise, on our system, all students will go into a waiting list if you don't set a capacity. So this is important to set up when setting up a classroom.
Okay.
All right, and then you have the start and the end dates. By default, they take on the semester start and end date that you selected above. Now, if you had a campus, you would select the campus. Now, if you only have one campus, you don't need to select the campus unless you had hopes of adding another campus.
Okay.
Right? Doesn't make sense to select Dublin if Dublin is the only campus that you had. Do you guys have more than one campus?
Not now.
Not now, but maybe in future, right? So yeah, if in
maybe.
future you intend, then sure, select Dublin.
Yeah.
All right. Now, we've got venue, classroom time, but we also have a weekly schedule. So if you have a weekly schedule in place, you don't need to manually enter these. Now, let's say, for example, practical life. Do you teach, or who teaches practical life, and how often do they teach it?
Usha, every week, every Tuesday.
There you go. So every week, every Tuesday. Nice. That's a weekly schedule. So what you can do is you can, well, we need to select an instructor.
Yeah, you can select it.
Yeah, just for having it in there.
Right.
Good. So here you see that you can set your time. You can select the classroom and the day that the teacher is going to be teaching every week. So you don't need to enter this venue, classroom, and time over and over again. It's already in here. Okay? So you can hide these if you want. If you're not going to be using them, venue, classroom, time, hide them. All right? So next in line, you've got survey start dates. I know we said we would discuss this further, right? You've got surveys that you can post at the end of each course or whenever you feel like telling students, hey, we need you to take a survey. You can take a survey based off of your instructor. You may take a survey based on your opinion of the class. You can take a survey based off of the course that you took, right? And here's a certificate template, meaning that if you wanted the ability to have students have a printout of their certificate for this class, you can select the course certificate if needed, right? Free class, that's just an option here. You can ignore this one. It's not a free class. Now you know how to add your weekly schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you had a setup where you did not know when classes were being held, you would use class dates. You would say, okay, well, this Friday Usha will have her class, and then next week Tuesday at 3 p.m. she'll have that class, and then whenever she's available again on Thursday she'll have that class. You see, then you set class dates. If it's not a schedule, if you're not teaching the class every Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
for example, right? So you would set up individual class dates in here, and you'd have to manually add dates. Simple. You just simply add dates, but you don't need this. So because you're using your weekly schedule, you do not need class dates.
Okay.
So here's the deal. If you use a weekly schedule, you're not supposed to use the class dates. They clash with each other. If you're using a weekly schedule, you may insert an exclusion date. An exclusion date basically means today is Martin Luther King holiday, right? If this class was being taught every Monday and Wednesday, let's say, Monday, we would exclude today's date because today is a holiday. No class is being held on today's date. So if Monday was included, then today, 1/15/2018 would be an exclusion date you can add in here. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Good. So for example, when is the next holiday coming up? I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, let's pretend Christmas was coming up. So same concept, right? If Christmas was falling on a Tuesday this year, if every day of class was on a Tuesday, then on Christmas Day, she would put that as an exclusion date.
Okay.
Not teaching that class on Christmas Day. Good?
Yep.
Good. And same with class dates. So if you're using class dates, then you don't use the weekly schedule because the class dates supersede weekly schedule.
Yeah.
So you have either one or the other, and then along with both of them, you can include an exclusion date.
Mm-hmm.
Good? All right. And then here's an exam schedule. This is just to include dates that you may have an exam. So you can add days that you actually have an exam. So if, let's say they had a big examination for practical life, you would enter that in here, you know. That just basically builds a calendar view for teachers to see, oh, right, we've got such and such exam on such and such date.
Okay.
Now, under your regular audit and retake students, this is where you will add your regular students. Now, you also have audit and retake. If you have that sort of student in your school, then you would add them as well.
Okay. What does audit student mean?
Yeah, audit basically means a student who sits into a classroom and they don't have to have attendance taken or grades. You know, they're just retaking. It's almost like a retake, except you're sitting down observing a classroom.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah. Right? And obviously the retake student would be someone who took the class and they had to repeat it or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if they didn't make the grades, they may repeat it to try again.
Okay.
All right, and then you've got waiting students. This is basically regularly if you have a classroom where you say 10 seats available, nothing more, nothing less. Okay. Right? Once we fill up 10 seats, your capacity is 10, then everything after that is a waiting student. So if you had 10 students in a class as your capacity and one student dropped off, then this next student in the waiting list is next in line to take a seat in the classroom. So if you don't have that, then you can ignore these as well.
Okay.
All right. Now, completed, withdrawn, and incomplete. You may have a case where you have regular students in your classroom, right? But one student decides, you know what, my parents are moving back to a different country. I need to leave. However, that student is already in the classroom. You've taken attendance for that student. Student has gotten grades already. Guess what? The student may come to you and say, I'd like to have a copy of the grades that I have so far and my attendance, please, before I leave to go continue my schooling in a different country, right? Or you're just moving to another school. You know, they may want their transcript as it is right now or any reports that you guys have, go over to another school to transfer their grades across, right? So in that case, you can place the student in withdrawn status, for example, and it retains all of the student's information instead of just dropping the student from the classroom. Now, by placing a student in withdrawn status, for example, in this little box over here, what you'll be doing is you remove the student from the roster. So when the teacher, let's pretend you had a class of 10 students and I was a student. Now, when the student is taking attendance, they won't be taking attendance for me because I'm in a withdrawn status. So I won't appear on the roster anymore to take attendance for. Good?
Okay.
We also have shared instructors. So if there were any instructors sharing a classroom, so for example, let's pretend that Ed was an instructor and I was a student. Stone, you were assisting Ed in his classroom, for example, you know, or there was another instructor who could assist with grading and taking attendance or even teaching the classroom itself. But for every classroom, you must have a main instructor. Do you have shared instructors?
Yeah, Frida was asking to add her into all the class. So I just add her as a shared instructor.
Okay. That way, whenever you have a shared instructor, Frida would be able to see the grade book. She would be able to take attendance. She would also be able to view the lesson plans and class materials. Good?
Yep.
She won't see the classes as her main classes, but she'll be able to see the grade books and classrooms for attendance and things like that.
Okay.
All right, comments. You basically make a comment about the classroom. Class topics, again, these aren't set up for this type of school. Class topics is very unique. It requires an upload file and it's meant for schools like public safety. So you guys don't need this. That's why I said this area down here you probably don't need.
Okay.
The only time you would need this is for your online application, just these two. Registration, start and end dates.
Okay.
Okay? But other than that, you won't be needing class topics. It's not what you think it is.
Okay.
Class topics is basically, let's pretend you're a firefighting school. So they usually move from the classroom and they go out to the tarmac and they do a drill and they run across to the next building. They out of fire, they come back to the classroom. That sort of thing. That's what that is.
Okay.
Right? So you don't need that. And once you do that, you save your classroom. And you've created your classroom successfully. So good job on that. Did you have any questions about how to create a classroom?
No. So far so good.
There you go. So far so good. Good. Now we have class groups over here. The only time you would use this class group is basically if you had a class group. So for example, let's pretend you had a group name called mathematics. All right. Now that belonged to the mathematics department. And then here, let me just do the basics. I'm not going to save it. Then you see how it's going to ask you for which program is it going to be for. Right. And then what class group is it going to use? So this is for international students. Now, what that does is it says, okay, let's create a new class for whichever group that was, you know, that name. You already have classes created, but you notice how it pulls all of the subjects that you have on the system? Yeah. So it allows you to create your classrooms in groups. So you can set the instructor for each one of these classes, but it all belongs to a group. So usually how a school would use class groups would be, all right, well, we have the group name called math, and then we have the subject for trigonometry. You have the subject for algebra, right? So you have sub-subjects usually under this class group.
Okay.
See, so you don't need to use class groups.
So, by the way, if we create the class group, will they what the class graded separately?
Yes, so all classes would be created separately, except that you're creating them under a group itself.
Oh, but there's some, you know, I'm still thinking about the natural science and the subclass,
Yeah.
which is
Oh,
physical.
yeah. Well, that's different. That's going to depend on how you want the layout for your transcript.
Right,
So you
right.
won't necessarily create a classroom for them.
Exactly.
It's just as easy as creating a separate class here.
Right.
Right? But your class groups are usually grouped underneath a specific name. So if you have all subjects under math, for example, you've got trigonometry, algebra, you know, whatever else that goes under math, then you'd use them in that category just to create a group. It's just an additional filter. But you don't need that filter just for 2 courses.
Okay, but if we create the group on the transcript, we don't have a course called math, right? We just have a
no, this won't affect your, creating a class group won't affect your transcript at all. So it doesn't make sense. Yeah. All right. We've got grades, so moving down to grades. Actually, you know what, Stone? Let me come back to classes. We skipped a bunch of stuff. Let me go. So once you have a class already created, the question is, in your Montessori school, what do you give your students? Would you be giving your students homework and things like that?
Yeah, they will have homework.
Yes? All right, awesome. So in your classes, you have class materials, okay? Your class, and I see you've already created all your handouts here, which is nice. Now, the thing about this is that, sure, you can create, so let's see what you use here. You use the announcement, which is nice, and you attached all of the files that they need to use. Good. Now, the nice thing about the class materials is, and you can shortcut across here by clicking class materials as well.
Do it again, sorry.
Sorry. So you go to academics classes. Now, usually you would select a class and then you would go to class materials. But you can just scroll across here as well, and you can go to class materials.
Oh, there.
So you see, you can even shorten this, make this a little easier. You probably have no lab hours. You don't need a venue. You don't need a time because the time is in a weekly schedule, right? Here, let's clean this page up a little bit. Under display options, we can go to class, academic classes display options. Now, for your campus, you know all is Dublin so far. So you don't need to display that.
Right.
Start and end date, sure. What course is being taught, who your instructor is. Now, if Frida is your shared instructor, you don't even need to see that because you know she's the shared instructor. Unless you want to see it.
But if we don't have a shared instructor option, later on, how can I add Frida to each class?
You'd have to manually add her.
Yeah, so I think we have to have this option, right? Otherwise.
No, this is just your display in the columns.
Oh, okay.
You would,
okay.
This is just your column view.
Okay.
So here, I think you're not needing venue and time. Which one of the 2 are you using? I saw something selected. That's okay. You have a weekly schedule, so we don't need dates. We don't need credits. You guys don't use CEU. You might want to see your capacity, right? How many students you have. You probably don't need waiting students. You probably don't need to see seats available in the classroom unless you do.
If we click out the capacity, there's no limitation on the capacity as well, right?
What do you mean?
For example, if we turn this option off,
it'll just hide the column. This is just for a report.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah, just for reporting. So here, let me show you. Let me show you what I'm doing. It's just a display. Right here, so it's nice and neat now.
Right.
So you can see the start date of the class, end date, what the class name is, what course, the instructor. I think you don't need the lab hours. You have 0. Let's get rid of the lab hours too. Make it nice and easy.
I uploaded all the materials by clicking the announcement. Do you think that's going to be same as add materials?
Add materials? Here, let me go through. I don't want to confuse you. This is just what I'm displaying, right? So now it makes it easy. When you go into this page under classes, you can go directly to your class materials because it's all nice and neat now. Okay? So when I click on class materials, sure, you've added all of the handouts that need to be used in the class. But let me show you.
What is the direct way to upload this handout?
Yeah, so I'm going to show you here on the right-hand side how you can utilize this as well, right? And it's your choice. Okay. It's your choice. We can just try to use it. So for example, we have sessions. What is a session? A session is like a section. So think of a section or a session as your main folder that has different folders inside of it, and you have different curriculum inside of them. So for example, you may want to call this first one your course syllabus, okay, or course outline. Okay, and I'm just going to create it so you have an idea. Now notice I have a session and I have the start date and the end date of this particular class, right? Now I can choose to display my data between the above dates, always, or not now at all. So it's a syllabus, course outline. I want students to be able to see everything that they need to see. So I select always and I click on save. Okay, so guess what? That creates a section for me.
Okay.
Okay, now in this section, if you wanted students to be able to see, you know, their syllabus and everything that they had to do to read and access all, then you can place these class handouts inside of this course outline if you wanted to. Now, to further define this, you know how to use the announcement. So in the announcement, you already have the announcement. What if I placed your announcement inside of this course outline? Then all of these will fall inside of this session nicely.
Okay.
Okay. So you know how to use the announcement. If you had YouTube videos you wanted to share with students as well, you can click on Add Announcement. And guess what? You can place your announcement inside of the session that you're creating. So let's just say assign. Well, no. Something like that. Right, and you put your topic or you attach a file as well. You know how to do that announcement. Then you can also tell them, please review the YouTube video below and answer the following questions. You know, that type of thing. You can use it for anything. Just as an example. Good? So I'll just do that, and you can attach a YouTube video if needed. Then you submit that, which makes sense. You know what to do. So that falls underneath course outline like this.
Okay.
Good. Now, the next thing you have is your assignments. So if you have an assignment, you click on Add Assignment, and let's pretend, you know what? Let's do this. You can use your session again. How do instructor teacher classes usually? Do they do it by topic or do they do it by weeks?
By week, I believe.
By week? Okay. So you can do this as well. You can say week number 1. Okay? Week number 1 is, let's say, 1, 2. The week number 1 is, if it's starting on 1, 2. This is just an example, right? That means next week it's starting on 9, right? Or ending 1, 9. Okay? Something like that. Now, in between, only between the above dates would you be able to display the class materials that students need to be seeing. Right? This is just an example. I'm just building it here for you so you see it. So in week 1, let's say they had one particular assignment. What was the name? Then you place it under that session, right? So under week 1, they would say, what was one of the things I saw? Balance and what? Environment. Something like that. Okay, now for your assignment, I can't create this assignment yet because there are no categories created yet. Now, did we decide if I think you wanted your instructors to be able to add categories, right? Yes. So the instructors will have to set up the categories for their grades first before we add this in here. Okay.
So the instructor can do this, right?
The instructor can create their class material, but
I mean
first yes, first the instructors would have to go to academics. Well, the view from the admin is different. Do Do you want to log in as an instructor
No,
so I
no,
can show you?
I believe you're gonna do this during the instructor tutorial.
yeah.
No worries.
But for you to see an assignment, we need to do it. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to
Okay.
cheat real quick. I'm just going to cheat. I'm going to set up your assignment category, just one. Oh, it's going to get really tiny.
No problem.
Sorry. Customization, and then I'm just going to go to courses, practical, since we're doing that one. Practical life. I'm just going to add one category here. I'm just going to say participation. I know we have different breakdowns, right? But let's just do 100% here, just so you have one.
Okay.
Now, I know Frida knows the breakdown. That was what we had discussed the last time. She had quizzes, she probably had, you know, attendance, that sort of thing. Good. So now that we've done that in your class materials, you can come in here now. In week 1, you can say, all right, we're going to add this assignment. Week 1. Right? You can put a full score. So let's pretend your assignment was called Balance and Environment, and she was doing a class, you know, chapter 1 to 3, let's say, something like that. Okay, and the students needed to read and answer a couple questions. So she said, okay, this is out of 25, for example. Your full score can be out of anything. Once the student receives a score out of a full score, they get a percentage, right, for it. And again, you have a start time and a close time of this week. So if your week was starting 1-2, would have finished 1-9, you set that in here as well to further define it. If you had an assignment so students know, hey, I can start this 12 a.m. on 1-2, and then it has to be due by 1-9, 12 a.m. Right? So your assignment can also have instructions. So the instructor will say, hey, these are your instructions. This is what you need to do. Please read chapter 1 to 3, right? And answer the following questions. Something like that. Or if the assignment is just to read, you know, I mean, most times when you create an assignment, it's to grade the students anyway. All right? So if the students had a composition to write based on something, they can upload a file to give their composition, you know, their paragraph. They can do that if they needed to. If the instructor had, let's say, a worksheet for students to fill out, they can upload that digital worksheet for the students, and the students will be able to download the worksheet, respond back or answer back on that worksheet, and upload that worksheet to the instructor. All right, so they can do that. So what happens, Stone, the nice thing about this is that once you create your session and you use your class materials, you open up a Dropbox feature in Urband, right? So you basically say, hey, once you add an assignment in here, it gives the student the ability to see the assignment. Students can upload their assignment or respond to the assignment, and the instructor will just simply be able to view the submission of the student and give the student a grade right there and then. All right, so under here, under your week 1, you actually see the assignment. Now, I put the date as January 9th, which is gone, so it shows up kind of grade. I think you can see it here.
Okay.
It shows up grade because I put the closing date has already passed.
Okay.
If we put the date as the 16th, it'll show like they still have to they have 1 more day to submit this, for example.
How to enable a student to have ability to upload their own file?
They can once they see this. All right. So if a student is in this classroom and the student logs into the portal, they'll see this assignment needs to be done. Yeah, from the student portal view.
Okay. There's an option for them,
student portal view. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
And what we can do is we can log in as a student to see it. Once we're done, once I finish, create the assignment and the assessment, we'll log in as a student so you can see it.
Okay.
It gives it a pretty good, you'll understand it from the student's perspective too.
No, if you say so, I believe you. Don't worry about that. Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, all right. So that's how you add an assignment. So guess what? Student will see their week 1. Oh, I have this assignment in week 1. Okay, I can do this. Right? And that's how you can do. You can set up your lesson plans per week.
Okay, got it.
So if they needed to read grace and courtesy, for example, in week 3, then you would upload this file in week 3. Or you can leave it just as you had it here in your course outline, and you tell students, please go to your course outline and read grace and courtesy.pdf for the next course, or for the next chapter.
Okay.
You can do it either way. But all I'm teaching you how to do is how to utilize the class materials in here. And it's very simple once you learn how to lay it out. Okay? So that's an assignment, and your assessment, you can manually create assessments. Do teachers give their own quizzes?
Yeah.
Yeah? So if you wanted to, let's say in week 1, we had balance. Oops. Quiz number 1, that sort of thing. All right, so yeah, you would have selected a category called quiz if we had set it up. Now you notice how the full score says it will be the total points of all the questions in the test. So basically you're going to create the quiz, and let's say you can give the time that they have to take this quiz. So if you said, this quiz will take 30 minutes to complete, you select 30 minutes. The students will have 1 attempt. You can select multiple attempts if you want them to try it over and over again. And they also have a start time and an end time. So for example, you can set the time, let's say, hey, today at 8 a.m. through, let's see, 8 and 10, through, what is today? Today is the 15th, good. 8 a.m. up until 8 p.m. tomorrow. You guys have this test you can take. And tomorrow is January the 16th, for example. Good? If you submit this, now you've created this assessment. You've got an assessment name that you can select. And here you can give rules or instructions. So you say, please answer the following questions to the best of your ability. Something like that. And then you save this. Now what that does is it gives you the ability to add your questions. New question. What is the purpose of life?
You covered a lot of functions from Moodle.
Yes. There you go. So if you're familiar with Moodle, then this is similar. What is the purpose of life? Let's just do 1, 2. We don't know what the purpose of life is, Stone. Let's say, so these are your answers, and then you said, hey, the instructor will say 1 is the correct answer for this. So 1 is the answer. Okay? Now you put points. When the student answers this question, you give them 1 point for the question, or however many points you give towards that question, right? So guess what? You've just created your first question for students to answer. Right?
Yeah.
Next one, very simple. So here. Now you've got different answers. You've got the ability to do multiple choice, single correct answer, like I did in the one before. You've got the ability to answer more than one, right? You can answer more than one question. So if you can say, hey, A and C, right? You'd be able to select multiple. Now you also have short text, which means, and this one, it's funny how this one works. This one's a little more complex. I always have to explain this to people. Your short text, you notice that there's a file for upload as well. So it allows the students to type the answer. Now, let's say this is a 1-point question. You notice here how it says correct answer. So 1 plus 1 equals 2, right?
Mhm.
However, what if a student answered not number 2, but TWO?
Mhm.
The system would not be able to know the difference between number 2 and the spelling of 2.
Yeah.
Okay? So what happens here, the system would not grade this particular question. Instead, it's going to give the screen to the instructor saying, do you accept the following answer? Now, if a student, let's say Ed answered and he answered number 2, I answered and I typed TWO, then the instructor can say, yes, she's accepting that answer.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay? So, I mean, yes, usually this is what would happen. The instructor would type 2, but if Laura saw this question and Laura answered TWO, it won't grade Laura automatically. It's going to ask her, do you want to accept this question? Then the instructor will simply say, yes, I'll accept TWO.
Okay.
See? Yeah. Okay, so this is a perfect example of another one right here. And then there's, let me just go back to the existing. You have other questions. You've got yes, no, or long text, which allows them to type or upload a file. And, you know, if you ask them to write a composition on how was your day or describe yourself, that sort of thing, they'd be able to upload a composition or a paragraph in Word or Notepad or whatever it is. Right? And you guys could also give the students a Word document and say, you know, have questions and answers in there that a student can download and then answer in the Word document and re-upload their answers for you if you wanted to. Then you got yes, no answers, so it'll give you the yes, no selections, right? So they can select yes or no. And then you got true and false, and then just a file upload. That's it. So you can do like you can do diagrams. Sometimes you've got worksheets with diagrams. Like let's say you had a you're doing anatomy and you had a picture of the lungs and you told students, you know, there's a little arrow, name the following. So the students will have to download it, name it, write it in, and scan it, upload it if they need to. See? So you can use different mediums to get your questions answered for them. So once you do that, it builds the question bank for the teachers. The nice thing about it is if you had some standard quizzes that they give over and over for the classes that they take, you can reuse those same quizzes for different classes. You just need to copy it from one semester to the next semester. That's it. Every time you have a class, so let's say Usha had this class and she taught this class to other students again next term or, you know, in the next semester, she'd have the same question that she can just pull into her next classroom. She don't have to create them over and over again. All right? So now what happens is, well, let's go back to the class. And you got your class materials over here. Now, under week 1, this is what week 1 looks like to us. You've got an assignment and you've got an assessment to take. And it labels the start time or the end time when this assignment is due. It says when this starts, when it ends. Right? So students, when the student logs into their portal, they get to see the same thing. So you also have discussion threads. I don't know if in your, you know, for adult education, if you grade discussions, a lot of schools now that we've seen, you know, a lot of them grade their discussions to encourage participation in the classroom.
Okay.
You know, so they may have a question about, please answer or give your opinion on the topics for balanced care, or which was your favorite topic for balanced care of self, each other, and environment. Right? So it encourages the student to actually participate. Even though it's a discussion, it's an actual thread itself. And you notice that if you wanted to be able to grade this, then you would select this checkbox. If not, then ignore all of this. You don't have to put in a score or anything. You can put it under the session it belongs to, right? For example. And then if you wanted to grade it, you can grade it. If not, then just do that. And then you can put in this, you know, the question here.
Mm-hmm.
Opinion on. And if you submit this, then what that does is, in your week 1, when a student sees this, the student will be able to also respond to this. And look how, you know, it looks like this to the student, and they can respond to this question. Then another student could respond to the answer of the other student, or they can answer to the actual question itself. So it's going to give you a nice discussion post. Let's take a look at something from the student point of view, Stone, just so this brings it home. So practical life, did we have a test student in this classroom? Yeah, we do. If I double click on the students in the class, it takes me directly to the students. So I'm just going to resave password. Meyer 1, we're going to log in as a student, all right? Just so you can see what the class materials look like. All right. Okay, so let's log out. Meyer 1, test student, login. So the first time a student logs in, they'll see this privacy policy. And now when they come in here, you notice how it would show a completed course if they did one. Or they would need to know, hey, I can go to my classes, click on Practical Life. Oh, look.
No.
Looky here, student has an outstanding payment due. So just for the case of the student is enrolled in Practical Life, let's just make the payment here. Cash, receipt number, 123, submit. All right, so we shouldn't have any problems with the student anymore, I don't think. All right, so if the student goes to class, there we go. Now you can see all of the information that we have in here, right? So, I think our session, sorry, Stone, I put the session to where they can't view the session, the topics in the session yet. So, but you see how the sessions work. The sessions control what the students can see. So yeah, we put the course outline to where they can see the session, everything always, right? But I believe we set week 1 to where they couldn't see anything.
Oh, right. That's okay. That's okay. I understand how you do it work.
Good.
So that's
Good.
okay. Don't worry.
Let's just see and make sure. January 2 to, oh, the session ended. See, session ended, so it was not available anymore. And remember, we set the session to where? In between these 2 dates. So if I extend it till tomorrow, for example, save this. Now, student should be able to. Students. But, Stone, that was a perfect example of how this works and how your sessions work. So, think, for example, if I were the type of instructor that wanted to plan for week 2 and week 3, then I can create all my assignments and assessments where the students would not be able to see them, right? Yeah. So here you go. So now the students can see, oh, okay, well, I have this assignment due on the 16th, so I better get that done tonight, you know, or I have a discussion in here.
Yeah.
Oh, what is your personal opinion on balance of life? You know. And if they post this message, this is what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
See, and then if there's another student in the classroom, guess what? The other student can respond to this one, but they can also respond to Laura's post.
Oh, okay.
So it does a nice discussion forum for you.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do this one. Go back here. And also, students will be able to see. Let's go back to the start page. I know I jumped. They'll see assignment due. It pops up on their widget. Good. And also for the classroom, on the right-hand side, students will see assessments that they have. See? Or they can see at a glance any assignments that they have, when it's due, when the closing time is, any class discussions they've got, right?
Yeah.
Class journal is optional for students. And they can view their own attendance record if they needed to. If they were present, they would see what days they were present, absent, that sort of thing. See? So, in a nutshell, Stones, this student can do this. This student in here, while I'm logged in as a student, let's do this. We're going to go to the assignment. Here's your question and answer. They can upload a file or they can type whatever they want. So if they needed to write out their composition, they could write their composition in here if they wanted. Or they can upload a Word document and upload it.
Yeah.
See? And also they can put a comment if they want, and teachers can respond to the comments as well. Teachers can correct their comments, correct their assignments, give them advice on, okay, well, good job on answering question number 2, but do you want to try question 3 again? Give question 3 a different, answer. They can do that. So teacher and student can correspond with each other before the instructor gives the student a grade. So student can do this. This is my answer. Okay, and they can submit that. So what the instructor will see is that submission. The student just submitted something, and the instructor will see that for the assignment. For the assessment, student will come here, and this is what the assessment page would look like. Oh, okay, so they have about the exam, be ready before you start. You will have only limited attempts, and here it shows you the attempts up here. Please finish the exam within the time limit. Make sure you save blah, 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 blah. And then the student would start the exam. Are you sure? So it's asking the student if they're sure, not, it would prematurely start. And then here you go. They got 30 minutes. The clock starts ticking down. See? So now the student will answer. Okay, I'm going to answer this. What is 1 plus 1? Oops. Who selected the yes or no? So let's do this. Save. Student just took the test. They can save their test, but they have to finish their test to submit it. Okay? The student took the test. So the instructor will have to grade the test and give the students the answers. And students will be able to see. So this is from the student point of view. You just saw how the student sees it. So when they click on their classroom, they also have to just come in here. They'll be able to see everything that you post for them. And they'll have to know to click on here to view the topics or view what's in week number 1, that sort of thing. Right? It's pretty basic. The student portal is very basic. So let's log back in. Now that being said, Stone, anytime the instructors use the class materials, guess what? For practical life, let's go to gradebooks. And practical life is here. You have a normal gradebook. Look at this. It inputs all of the data automatically for you. See, so the instructor didn't grade the quiz yet. So the student has 0 so far until he grades that quiz. Okay?
Oh, okay.
So anything that the student did, so we didn't, I don't think we, what is this one? We did a quiz. What is this one here? Did we do 2 quizzes? No?
No, I don't think so.
No, there are 3. There's the assignment, right, that we created.
Yeah.
How is that graded already? Now I need to check. What was the assignment number 1? Now I can't remember what we did. Which
yeah,
one
we
was...
done the number 3, yes. I think we done the number 3. They have to rate something.
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'll just keep these in here just as the example, right?
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, you're okay with classes? You can play with it and see.
For the grading and other stuff, you're gonna talk again. You're gonna teach this, talk about this during the instructor.
The
tutorial.
instructor training, yeah.
Yeah.
And so for your classes, you notice on the right-hand side where it says copy classes and schedules. Remember I told you, so whenever you have a new semester, and if you're teaching the same subjects, or the same courses from the last quarter, or the last semester, you can copy the classes across as well. If they're already created and the instructors are teaching it again, come the next semester, you can copy and paste them.
Okay.
Right? Or just add them easy like this. So whatever
everything
the last...
so everything that will be copied over, right? Materials,
yes.
questions, quiz.
Classes, no, but this will only copy the classes and schedules.
Okay.
But not always would you want to copy the class materials, so that's separate. So you have the option to copy class materials if needed. And again, this is copied from semester to semester. You can't just copy from class to class in the same semester. It's got to be from a different semester. All right?
Okay.
Good. I just wanted to show those there. All right. Now, I think you're okay with that. So the next thing that you saw the preview for was the gradebook. So under academics, grades, you as the admin, you have a different view, obviously. It's going to show you all the grade books, right? So you can simply click on the grade book over here, and you can find those classes that you need. Now you can show the instructors or staff, you know, how to download that grade books just for a backup. Always nice practice to just download your grade book with your grades that you uploaded from time to time, so you don't lose your grades at all, right?
Right.
So now you've got your gradebook for practical life as the example. This is what your gradebook would look like. And basically, the instructor, if they added materials from class materials, they would show up here automatically. You see the submission box, and you see the test box in here, right? Now, one of the things that they would need to do if they're not doing it from there, you can manually add an assignment if needed. Right? So this is what Frida was asking about the last time. You can add your assignment names and select the categories needed for them. Good? And your full score is understood that the full score is out of anything, like I mentioned before. You can, you know, you can have an instructor come into class and say, all right, guys, did you read the topics last night? All right, let's do a quiz this morning. Let's do a quiz out of 5 questions quickly, guys, you know, like that. You put your score was out of 5. If students answer 4 out of 5, guess what? They get 4 divided by 5 multiplied by 100. That would be their percentage.
Okay. So if we use this as assignment name stuff, I think it's my understanding is it's like override, right?
Yes, I mean, not really override. When you say override, what do you mean?
Okay, so on the left side, there's no use anymore. Anymore, right?
You can, if you use here, you can manually enter it, but then you wouldn't need these. Yeah, you can get rid of these if you want.
Right now, we We still need this? I mean,
Stone, you're breaking up.
that's possible to have this two systems, right? We only have one category, right? If you click the category, broken. Hello.
I can hear you. I think Laura just. I
You
don't know
can
what
hear me?
happened, to be honest. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
You,
That's not my
you
problem.
were breaking up a little bit, so I don't know if she tried to adjust her settings, but let's see.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Now we can hear Stone properly, right?
Okay.
Yes,
That's better.
Yeah, he was
I'm
all
sorry,
slowed up and slurred.
My question broke it. So okay, forget about my question.
No, I think I got what your question was. If whatever you enter on this side overwrites whatever is in here, it doesn't necessarily overwrite it. It's just a manual input in addition to what has already been created. But the instructor has the ability to say, okay, I refuse to create class materials. Instead, I'm going to give my students paper documents in class. I'm going to record my quiz in here and manually put in my scores.
Okay, got it.
See? So it's either or. They can use either or. All right?
Yeah.
And very basic. I think, Stone, you did ask me about the COMT comment, and the important thing was, you notice how this has NT over here? I think this was from our last example. We gave the student an NT, right, for this particular grade. That's where this came from. And I was showing you how to use your comment. NT means you'll penalize the student. The student gets 0 out of 25. You see? As opposed to if you said, okay, well, the students did this quiz, but they weren't feeling well. Oh, Ed, are you hearing me okay, or am I breaking up too?
I can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, Stone. Can you hear me as well?
Better. That's good.
Can you hear me properly, Stone?
Yeah.
Okay, now it's good.
Yeah.
So the NT means not turned in. You see how it shows up on the top here? Hold on one second. There. Not turned in equals NT. Okay. Not graded or excused is NG. So those are key terms in your comment section, because if the student did not turn in their assignment, you would give them NT and it would penalize the student. So this student is going to get 0 out of 25. However, if I go in here and I said, okay, I changed my mind, the student should not have any score. I'm just letting the student know that, hey, they weren't feeling well and they can come back and take this assignment. So I'm not going to grade them on this particular assignment. Look what's going to happen to the student's score. So right now Laura was failing, right? She had like a 42, but now, oops, 52. What? 13 out of 15. Why is Laura still failing? Why is Laura failing? Okay. Let's take a look. Practical life. Laura. So I can come in here, Stone, and take a look at the progress report, right? Student got 13 out of 15, which was 86%. 1 out of 2, 50%. NA out of 25. That submission box, no grade was entered yet. No grade was entered yet. That's why the student is failing. For the submission box, the student did this particular assignment, but no grade was given yet.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, if we were to go in here to the class and view class materials, take a look at the week. There was one assignment in here. This needs to be, the student needed to submit their assignment and the instructor needed to give the assignment a grade. Stone, do you know who the instructor is for this class?
Yeah, Usha.
Usha, I need to make sure this is working. Just since I have you in here, I want to make sure that it is working.
Okay.
Just in case if we find any bugs.
Sure.
I want to make sure. Usha. All right. Let's log out, log in, Gupta 1. Poor Usha is probably going to see the test example and she'll say, oh my gosh, I got an email from, oh, so, okay, so she hasn't logged in yet. But she'd have received an email probably, you see that? She received the assignment from Test Laura. All right, and so what happens is she can click on the assignment that she received, read the student's answer, or if the student uploaded a file, she would be able to download the file for the student. And you see here, she can give the student the score. So if she says, okay, Laura got a score of 25, let's save that. Now, when we log in to the gradebook, now you can see the gradebook from the instructor view, actually. For practical life, you see how much simpler it is for the instructor to go to?
Yeah.
Then the instructor will see she got 25. Now she has a 96A.
Nice.
Depending, it's not lining up the lines because of the browser and how I have my screen. But it lines up usually. All right. But yeah, it adjusted the score for the student because the student didn't have anything out of this particular grade.
Okay.
Good. So I mean, it takes a role for everybody to play their role. The instructors, once they create the assignment, they have to fill it out, right? They have to score the student. And it becomes really handy, Stone, because if you want students to use their online portal, and so it makes it easy for students to submit their assignments online, take a test online, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, I want it.
Good. So gradebook, very basic. Again, you would come across to the right-hand side and select any gradebook. You're inside of a gradebook, very easy to view, right? And on the right-hand side of the screen, there's just a couple gradebook options. For example, here it says drop lowest scores. So if you had multiple categories and grade weights, and let's say I was an instructor and I said, oh, you know, the last quiz I gave them, I was a little too hard on them. I kind of rushed the last topic and my A students got C's. You know, they would drop the lowest score if needed. This is some schools use it, some don't. And then this right here, let's just say if I entered number 2, I just want you to see. It just gives them 2 places to enter information. See? Some teachers like to enter multiple.
Okay.
So they have the options to do that if they want to. By default, it shows 1. So that they can enter their data. Then they can upload and download a gradebook. So instructors can download their gradebook. Like I said, good practice to download a gradebook and save a copy for yourself. But upload gradebook, I try to not discourage it, but be very specific about uploading grades. So if you download a gradebook, it downloads to Excel, right? And you'll probably see it down here, right? It downloads the gradebook to Excel. So when you open this, let's see if you can see it. Might take a minute. But I wanted you to see it because a lot of times the instructors think, oh yeah, I'd rather just go into my gradebook in Excel and upload those and then re-upload it into the system. But then they run into problems because sometimes they may misspell their category. So it won't match the category on here, and it causes problems, right?
Right.
So just to be very particular about uploading gradebooks, I like to discourage it. So, and for your own peace of mind as an administrator as well, only if you knew that the teachers were following the correct procedure to upload a file, then I would tell them, hey, you can download your gradebook in Excel, enter your stuff in Excel sheet, and upload it by the end of the week or something like that, right?
Right, right.
I think it wants to open. Here, so this is what this looks like. This is the downloadable version of it. Let me see if I can close this off here. Right? So this is your version of the downloadable gradebook. So the instructor would now have to go in and they would have to make sure that they're, like, they spell participation correctly. You know, they have the assignment name in there correctly. They put this into the right places. We try to color code to prevent them from putting in a wrong date here, you know, or putting the score over here in comment instead of the score section. That sort of thing, right? So yes, it's possible to download and upload your grades, but
right. I believe I will tell all the instructors not using this function.
yeah,
I think they don't want to use it because as you can see, Usha didn't even log in, so she got a problem. Yeah.
Did they have their login information?
Right. I don't. No, I sent them the information, all the login information, and I even loaded the materials handbook for them.
Yeah.
But they give me email says no. I can access to the handout you uploaded. I said you have to log in first. So I think they got.
So you mean for the class itself? So you needed her to go into classes. Yep. I would tell them to have the training first before they log in. So
okay. Yeah.
Before they mess up.
Just lead them through, show them through the whole procedure.
Yeah. Everything that I showed you, I will be repeating again for them.
Okay.
All right. And so we don't need the independent study. That's to create an independent study class. So again, if you really needed to use it, no difference, right? You see it just like how you create a class, except it creates a separate class under independent study instead of under your classes. Okay, now we have attendance, very simple as well. Academics, attendance, post-attendance. It's even easier screen to view than your screen is more complex than the instructor's screen. Today is the 15th of January. Simply click on the 15th. They got their roster of students in here. If students are present, simply select present for all. If 2 or 3 students were absent, it's easy to just go in and manually select those 3 and put them as absent. And you and I went over T for tardy, X for excused. You can ignore the class type because they're all regular students, right? LE is for left early if they needed to leave early, and you can put in a reason as to why they left early or why they were late, or manually type in a reason as well. Once they're done, they need to click the submit button. I'm not going to click it because I'm not going to take attendance for the students, right? Very easy. Any questions on the attendance?
No.
Now, to get even easier than this, if you guys wanted to go through, printing out ID cards for the students and having them scan using the barcode scanner, you can do that too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So on the system here, by default, Stone, under printing, custom printing, we have a default layout that you can use if you want. Oh, sorry, under label printing. Label printing, there's an ID card template that we put in here. So for example, if we go in here and we select, let's select a few students. I think Ed, were you a student in here? I think Ed was one. I thought we had uploaded a picture for Ed in here too. Anyway, let's just add these so that you can see what it looks like. Let's see if I can add Ed. I think, if I'm not wrong, there's Ed. I think Ed had a little picture, so you see how the picture looks with it. All right, now you have the option ID cards, usually print on 5x2. So just so that you can see, we've got all of the requirements below on how to print. So Stone, even if you wanted to, you can use sticky labels, print them on cards, and even laminate them if you wanted to go that route.
Nice.
Oh, Ed didn't have a picture. I thought he did.
Okay.
But you see, by default, if you cut these out, you have ID cards.
Yeah.
Look at each one. And it's got the barcode scanner. It has the date that they started, the program on there, and that they're a student. Now, if you uploaded a student picture, you'd be able to see the picture in here too. Right? But these are here available for you. You can use these by default.
A color picture, right?
It doesn't have to be.
I didn't.
But it can be if there was a color picture.
For the barcode, how we can scan the barcode?
So with your barcode, they have barcode scanners, right? You can purchase a barcode scanner.
Yeah.
They're very cheap. They range from $14 to $25.
Yeah.
Online, and you basically, here's how this works. So the students come in, and you can do attendance like this. What you need to do on our system, Stone, if you didn't know, academics attendance, and this is from your view as the admin, we have a kiosk, an attendance kiosk. So it basically means that, let me load it. This here is the image that you get, and if the student enters their correct ID number, it's going to log them into the classroom that they're due, if the classroom is currently going on. And if they have a picture, that picture will pop up and it'll turn green. And it'll tell you, okay, you're who you say you are.
Okay.
Yep. And you can do that for the library books as well. You can use the ID cards for the library books. You just have to be on this page. If you put it on this page and you have a scanner, scanners are USB, right? Plug and play. So when you're on this page, all you have to do is have the student hold up their ID and go poop with the barcode scanner, and it's going to automatically put them in attendance at the time.
Oh, nice.
It's going to timestamp them as well. Okay? So you can use that if you want. We could talk about it further if you want to.
Yeah, okay. Later.
Right? So there you go. Academics in a nutshell.
Okay.
Yep. And then you got different reports that you can use, from time to time. Or if you, Stone, as we're talking about reports, up front, I don't know if Fatima asked you, but up front, I usually like to ask if you have and any reports that you guys need and are mandatory to have in the system. We need to know so that we can help support them for you. All right. So if, let's say, for example, you had to supply your state with a particular attendance type report and we don't have it, we can help you build it if you need to.
Okay.
All right.
I don't think we have a student mandatory annual report for attendance.
Good. No, that's good. I like to ask up front just in case, because a lot of people get the system and say, oh, well, you guys don't have that type of report. We need this report for tomorrow. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, we can't create that report.
Definitely not. But we can add later, right?
Yes, you can always add later on, of course. Now, what about finance? How do you feel about finance? You want to skip finance for another day?
Do we have another day?
We can if you want to. We have tomorrow. Remember, I booked you tomorrow? 4 to 6?
No, I think I'm good with finance right now.
Yeah? All right.
But, do you remember last time I asked this question? How can I, show the students' payment in the outstanding payment portal, the function.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, that's
as
something
long as
we still
I
need
can
to
figure that
consider.
out, that'll get a lot of convenience. But
Yeah.
it's not really that important. I can always find a way to
Yeah.
to
You want to be
score.
able to find all students who are outstanding by class. And, I think we should be able to help you with that. But I put the request in, so we'll see what the
Oh,
engineers
okay.
say. All
I'm
right?
just afraid, I'm kind of afraid it is a bug because every time I choose, when I choose the class time, the
Yeah.
end time and start time, the payment information will not show up. But
Oh, no, no.
actually,
And
you
that
have
was
this
under your
option.
report. No, I
Oh,
think it just
that's
didn't like the, it didn't
other
like
report.
the,
Sorry.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's related to the payment. But anyway, just a word about the bug. Yeah.
All right, okay, no worries.
Looks
And
like
then
a
you
lot
got
of
your
people
schedules. Yeah, schedules are pretty basic. Some people use multiple schedules, some people use basic schedules. So for you as the admin or your staff sub-administrators, if you want to take a look at class schedules, we went through this as well, right? Let's say Usha. You created a classroom for Usha, so you can see for Usha, that she teaches practical life under here. We also showed you how you can print a schedule, or for students, you can print out for the students their enrollment list, right? And what times they have for the students. Master schedule works the same way. Your master schedule will show you all classes held on a particular day. So if I think Usha was on a Tuesday, you'll see in room 1, Usha is here. Right? As you start adding more schedules, it'll build. You don't need independent study schedules. Room schedules by room.
What is the master schedule?
Yeah, master schedules gives you an overview of all the classrooms with classes in them per day.
Oh, this is based on
Yeah,
classroom.
just in general. So you can go through and say, oh, okay, on Tuesday, room number 1 is taken up by Usha, so nobody else should have this room but Usha. Otherwise, it would be a conflict, right?
Right.
Yeah. And so you have different types of schedules, Stone. Room schedules, basically by room. So in here, if you're looking at, week number 3, you're not going to find anything in here unless you selected the correct day. So let's say you chose the Tuesday. How does this pull? In room 1, week number 3. What is the schedule time for Usha's class? 1:15. Tomorrow is 16.
Evening, 6:30 to 9. Wusha's it's a Tuesday. Wusha's Tuesday, every Tuesday.
Yeah, there you go. So she'll be in here, right, at 6 o'clock through 7 through 8 through 9. So this is not really, these are laid out differently for different types of clients, right? So you have to select which one. Most likely you'll be using class schedules. Yeah, or your master schedules you can use and see every Monday who's teaching who. But this room schedule doesn't really give you ideally what you want. You can show schedule here. It shows you Tuesday, but then it'll show you, hey, at 6 o'clock for every hour. It breaks it down. She's teaching class from 6:30 to 9:45 p.m. is what it's saying. And you have a module schedule for different types. It goes all the way across like this. We just have different types of schedules. So you can see here that you've got this classroom here, 7, 6, 6, 9. There's 2 different classes and they're running across. Yeah. Exam schedule, very basic as well. You select the day that you want to put the exam. Very basic. All right. You're okay with schedules? Any questions on the schedules?
Okay.
No? All right. Then we have reference.
I'm good with.
So you got your task calendar. We saw how we had created an appointment in here, but yes, I still have that ticket out to add instructors to the list, right? Task calendar, you can view all of the tasks that are available for whoever. So this task was actually made for you and the student, right? You can see the times and everything on whichever day. So you can always at a glance see, hey, who do I have tasks or appointments with? Events calendar on the system. Basically, you can add events taking place in the entire school so everyone can see them posted. So for example, if today is Martin Luther King Day, you can put that on here. Is there school today? Is there school today, Stone? Is school in session today?
Yeah, school, right? I don't know how about others.
So for example, today is 1:15. So
because
on the
I
system,
saw the
if you
right
added,
mark on the calendar, so I believe it should be.
let's do something like this, right? And it's a day off. You can do it like this and save the event. So what happens is everybody on their start page, they'll actually see the upcoming events when it is. So people know what it is. And then they can click on it to see exactly what it is. If you put any notes, no school today, school off, or something like that, right? So you can do it like that if needed. And then there's a staff directory, so you can see all of your instructors and whichever classes that they're teaching. Phone number, email addresses. Just at a glance. It looks like this because, oh, there we go. We got an instructor. We got Frida. Frida uploaded a picture. See, and then you can see the classes underneath her name because she's a shared teacher now. All right. And then we have the repository. Basically, in a nutshell, Stone, you know how this works now, right? You can create folders, and those folders give you access to, give people access to the content in this folder. So you can control who sees what files in your repository. And every user has a repository. So the students can view files, but students cannot upload their own files in their own repository. Only instructors, staff, and administrator can utilize the repository. Students can access files in a repository, but they cannot upload files themselves. Okay? Book list. This is only if you wanted to see a book list for a particular classroom. You would enter those books. I don't know if you need this or not.
Book list.
Yeah, book list would be different from the library. Library, you would check in and out books, right? But a book list would mean for Practical Life, they're going to be using Practical Life worksheet number 4 or something like that. That would be the name of the book taken for Practical Life.
Right. I don't know because we still have quite some other classes or courses coming. I didn't talk to the instructors, so I don't know if they're gonna use this or not.
Sure. And then we have the library. I gave you a glance at the library before. So if you had a book, you can check in and out books, right? You can add your books in here and then utilize them for students and instructors to check out books.
Right.
Same for equipment. If you had laptops or anything that anybody, projectors that teachers were borrowing, you can add the equipment and you can check in and out equipment as well. Under printing zone, we got custom printing. Yes, we can create these type of templates that you can pull, right, and print off your templates. But you can also use custom printing, create your own printable templates. So if you had any type of letter, let's say you had a acceptance letter.
Okay.
You can use this as well there, and you use your tags if needed, right? You got tags as well, right, that you can use below here. Lots of tags.
Nice.
Lots of tags. Every type of tag you can think of, from your forms, from your online applications. Look at tags you got. Most of these are from your forms, though. But you can utilize these, right? So you can do the same thing. You can put the logo, date, here, and you have your letter template in here.
Right.
And you can print these letters or you can email these letters out.
Mm-hmm.
You get the point. So in here, you save the letter, submit, okay, and now you can also pull. So you can pull by student. So if you had students who were, you know, new applicants or whoever it was, let's use a test student here. Is this you, Stone?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we can add these and then say, all right, so we went through a couple of students. We are accepting these 2 students. Guess what? You can send this PDF by email to them, or you can generate the printout of what you have in your mail for 2 of them. Now it shows up like this, but it's going to, I probably used the wrong tag for the names too.
I tried. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 pages is good. You tried it. Awesome. Yeah. I think I used the wrong tag.
I tried the transcript. I uploaded the transcript for 2017 and print them out in batch.
Good.
So I know.
Yep. And here I use the wrong tag for the student name. So S name would be not F name for first name. It would be the student name S. Right, so in the batch printing, if I reload this, it should say the names of the students. We got their Laura and their test. There you go.
Yeah, cool.
Right. And yeah, it should print these as well. And imagine if you had your logo, the date, it'll look nice too. You have letters on the system that you can email or print out as well. Right, so you can customize these letters so you see it prints in 2 pages separately. Good. All right, so we've got that. Then you have batch printing. So I think you've probably gone through here. There's a lot of different things to scroll through, but each one is because of each semester that you have. So most times we print stuff by semester. So if you go through, you'll notice that it'll repeat itself each semester. So you see here you've got semester report of winter quarter test. Then down here you'll have it repeating itself again, semester report of summer with everything else underneath. So basically per quarter you have all of these, or per semester you've got, you can print out your invoices in batch, you can print out your transcripts in batch, summary, transcript summary if needed, class lists. You'll be able to see what each one of these looks like from your academics classes. You actually can see some of these. When you click on a class, you notice these links. So if you want to know what an invigilation sheet looks like, if you use it, yes or no. I mean, some clients use, some don't. But this is basically what we have as an invigilation sheet. It's this sheet, Stone, is for, I believe, if someone is doing what's the word I'm looking for? Supervising a class. So if you're supervising students, you know, this is something that they would do. They need all of this information. So you may or may not use this, right? But it's there. All of these options are available on here. If you click around, you'll see you can print a class list. Some things work for some clients and some don't. So this, in general, your instructors, this is a nice list for your instructor to have, right?
Right.
Yep, they can just tell. And of course, some people like to add or request to add on. But it's not part of the standard that we have, so we can customize them and you guys can print out your own report if needed. All right, so printing, and then you have the label printing. So for example, something as simple as printing out labels of addresses for students, or, you know, if you want to send out students, let's say all students here on this first page, by address, you can use label sheets, you know, the sticky labels. They're all basically the same. You can print labels, and guess what? Let's hope students have addresses in here. Else this test would, there you go. See? You already have labels. You can send out labels or mail to students. Just print them out. See? So we already have that in here. All you guys have to do is just get the sticky labels to print on. There's different things. You can print just student names. You can do just first name, last name, the address, library. If you're using the library accession codes, barcodes, you saw the ID card. There's this, there you can print out any template you create as well in your custom printing. So you might not use these, obviously, to print as a label, but if you wanted to create your own little labels, you can do it yourself as well. Then we have the reports. I see you've played with the custom reports. No problem. Anytime you need to, we'll try to use the free custom reports. If not, you know, you can just come to us and we will guide you accordingly. All right? Query reports, Stone, you know that these are mostly, or for the most part, created by our team. Stone, you did request one. What was it for again?
I don't know, what should I request?
No, there was one that you requested. What was it for? The full name of it?
The student ID, right?
Student ID, that's right. That's right. Right, I think I did not do this one. We can get that one done for you tomorrow. Okay?
Yeah, no worry. No worry. That's
all right.
Too...
No, and it'll work in your form. So once you have that, you can pull it in your forms. And then we've got the standard list of reports, right? So some work for some clients. If there's any that you try to run and it doesn't work for you and you really like to use it, just let us know what your requirements are. Because sometimes the requirements of a report work for the clients who actually paid for it, right? So we just list a bunch of standard reports that a lot of our clients have paid for that we think other clients can benefit from.
Okay.
And then we also have a bunch of stuff from like financial aid. We recently added a bunch of that, iPads, all of those things. Client-specific reports would be any type of report that you requested that's specific to you alone, right? So if you had any state-type reports that needed to look exactly like that, we can build those for you, right? Email reports would basically mean if you wanted the system to generate an email to send out to someone on a weekly basis, let's say every Friday at 10 o'clock, you wanted a report to go out to your board, any board members. You know, you can create those. Now, these are query reports. They cost something. They have costs associated with them. But yeah, anytime you have any type of report.
You're going to charge for this function?
Yeah. Okay. It's the same thing because they have to build a query. See? They have to build a query anyway. Even though we have the frequency and everything set up here, they have to build a query as to what they're pulling. Someone may say, let me give you a quick example. A client recently paid for the ability for the instructors to get notified whenever they miss attendance for a scheduled date. See? So our engineers have to build a report in order for it to pull.
Okay.
Right? And this one, multi-recipient, basically means to send out to multiple people, not just one person. Okay. So sometimes your email report may be to send, okay, update Stone as the main administrator. He should know every time someone misses attendance. Okay. But if you wanted this to notify a student in a particular classroom to do something, then, you know, multi-recipients. All right, but most of these Stone are all, you know, requested and evaluated, and our team of engineers usually update those reports for you guys. Okay. Right, and then here under tracking, we have complaints and issues. Your users on the system have a complaints and issues button that they can utilize. All right, Stone, let me see. Ed, I believe we have, let me see, let me pause the recording. Stone, here, we're almost done. And what we can do is you and I can run through all of this setup if you want in more detail whenever you need to use it, because I know you'll be using those.
Okay.
All right, so we've
How
got
about
complete.
we find another time? I think I'm okay on the setup and customization.
Yeah.
Or we can just find another time.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically the end of it right here. The complaints and issues, your users have the ability to post complaints and issues, but it's up to the school to make a policy as to what people can use complaints and issues for. All right?
Okay.
Okay, that's it. I mean, you guys won't be using an inventory, would you? Do you have any type of inventory? Good. So usually clients hide these if they're not using them.
Right.
And then the most important thing about your setup and customization, you know, you've got your account and profile. As an admin, you can change your password. You've got user features, very easy to play with. You get to see what you'd have turned on for students to view. You know, system options, obviously you can read through your system options. Display options, we just use that today. We got to see what you know, you can shorten that list as an example. Your payment setup is in here, contact form, online application form. You're a smart guy, Stone. Semester setup is in here, all details, tuition, fees, and customization. Anytime you need something in the back end of the system, most time it's found under customization.
Okay.
Right? And in a nutshell, that's that. And Stone, moving forward, any questions you have, just post them on Basecamp and I'll feel free. Me, Ed, Fatima, whoever sees your message on Basecamp will respond to it.
Okay. So I have several things to make sure. The first thing is we already scheduled the instructors training, right?
Oh, when did you schedule that for?
I think I already scheduled for 22nd.
Is that a Monday?
I don't think that's a Monday.
Oh, let me see. On the 22nd?
Oh, yeah, it is a Monday.
It is a Monday, right?
Yeah, it is a Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. So what we'll do is Frida going to be in that one?
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
Yes? Okay. All right. So do you want me to conduct the instructor training? Would Frida be okay with that?
Yeah, no problem.
All righty.
That's going to be perfect.
I don't have a problem going through it as well. So.
Okay. Then secondly, I want to make sure. For the finance, I think we're gonna switch to the authorized.net. That's gonna give us a lot of function, right?
Yes. Authorized.net works internally within the system. So if you make a payment on here, it automatically generates. You know, the student will receive their payment invoice. It automatically gives you a transaction ID, that sort of thing. It makes the payment. And
do I have to set up something about that?
For authorized.net, under payment setup, you'll actually see what you need to get from them. Once you create your authorized.net account, it'll ask you for API login ID and a transaction key.
Okay.
Those are the two things that you need.
Well, I don't need to set up anything else, right?
No. As long as you set that up and you put that information in here, the system will automatically be able to accept payments online. Okay.
So I need 3 videos link or MP4 link, and then we're gonna take care of that.
Yes, Ed is taking care of that.
Yeah, and I think I still need you guys' email address, because every time the email address is kind of weird. It's through WebEx, so I don't have a.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm glad you actually asked for that. You know what? We can add, if you don't mind, under contacts.
Oh yeah, that's great.
We can add here for Urban.
Okay.
Right, and then. Look at that.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay.
So that's the race here. I'll put my name.
Okay.
876. That's
so you're going to be our tech support, right?
All of us are.
Oh.
Ed and I are on client services side, so we'll also assist you.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
If you want, I'm going to put in my personal cell phone number if you ever need me.
Oh wow,
All right?
that's so
And
cool.
we recently changed our address, and I don't know what it is.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
I'll keep the old one for now,
Yeah.
but as soon as we get it, we'll update it for you. All
Okay.
right? So I believe in here, let's just save that first, and then I can put in here if it will allow me to put in extension 301.
Okay. Cool.
So that would be the number to reach. This is customer service. Extension 301 will reach me directly.
Okay. How about the email address?
Email, yes, laurah@urbans.com.
Okay. Great. Okay.
Simple. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
So if you ever need to do it from here, or you got Basecamp. Basecamp, we all have our Urban emails tied to Basecamp.
Basecamp. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Right. Basecamp.
So
Yeah.
you can utilize Basecamp. That way everybody gets to see a message and we can address it.
Okay. Thank you.
All right?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay.
Take
Thank
care
you, Laura.
soon.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
Okay.
All
Thank you.
righty.
day.
Bye-bye.
You take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.